Today, after it's been a long time that I have done a full deep body meditation, when I lay down and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes for an hour or so, I listen to very specific kind of tunes. I'm just like in my body. And oftentimes in those states, I go places. Things happen. There's lucid dreaming going on. There are visions. There's clarity. And I had a call with my mom that was a 2.5 hour intense conversation. And I was tired even before the conversation with her, which was great, but I could just feel at the end of the convo, my throat was hurting. I was just exhausted. And then I thought, all right, what do I want right now? And I thought, I need to lay down and meditate. I feel refreshed in a way that I couldn't find refreshment through sleep, through reading, through walking, through working out. It's the sort of cleansing, letting go of certain things or processing certain things in a more body focused way than a mind focused way. And it just felt great. I didn't have like one big moment. Sometimes I do, where I have like one big vision or something that clarifies. But in the beginning, it was very interesting because I had these lucid dreams and there were these after the fact, half a beat too late. I would come out of almost like a mini dream where something played out, some dialogue, some people, there was some moment, something happening, and I would come out of it and I would be divided by the feeling of both what just happened was really important and don't try to catch it. Like don't try because I couldn't remember it fully. Don't try to go there. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever your body and mind just did, it was good. You can tell it was good, but you can't access it. So just let it go. Just keep focusing on the body. But I had a few of these where my mind would be kind of lost in a mini dream and I knew something profound just happened. Whatever I saw something, I experienced something and it was good and important. And I don't know what it is. It's so close, but it's in the other room. I can't quite see it from here. And then I would go, okay, just let it go. Just relax. And then there's different things that popped up, ideas, feelings, thoughts. But I came out of it and I felt really, really good.
What are how exactly do you do this body meditation? Do you have like specific steps? What's part of the routine there?
No, there's not that many steps. I usually lay on the bed. Oh, yeah, well, there is a little bit to it, right? So I think what I'm doing, I don't know exactly. This all happened very naturally without thinking about it too much. But I think my first MDMA therapy session was a really profound experience, right? And it was this me laying in bed and there was the cover over me and I would lay there kind of very straight and have headphones on and listen to this music. And there was a distinct feeling during that first session, we've talked about this before many times, of this like incredible warmth that I felt. And that warmth was kind of translating to love for me. And so I do the same thing. I go under the cover and I put on headphones. And there are a few playlists. There's one album that it's actually even, I think I shared it with you once before, but it's basically music for psychedelic experiences or something like that. And it's an album, what is it called? Music for Mushrooms, right? East Forest. And this whole album is very kind of nature sounds and very gentle melodies. And it's very spaced out and very soft and gentle. Very, I don't know, being in nature of some sort. So I often listen to songs on that album. Like these tracks on this album are like 20 minutes each or something, 30 minutes, they're very long. Sometimes I listen to that. Sometimes I listen to some other playlists, but they're all usually very kind of gentle, soft, minimalist music. It's not hardcore electronic party music. And then the only thing I do is I lay there, I play a song. Usually I intuitively know what I want. Sometimes I'll lay there, I click on a song and I'll go, no. Click on the next track, I'm like, no. And then when I find it, I feel it. I just go, yes, this is what I need right now. And then I lay down, I close my eyes, I don't move, and I don't even focus on my breathing. I just focus on my whole body. It's sort of a feeling all of my body all at once. Like like a focus on the entirety of my body versus one part. It's not my chest. It's not my breathing. It's not my heart. It's not my head. It's not any particular part. It's just I feel my whole body, and I hold my body in present attention at once. And then I just feel. And oftentimes, in the beginning, often it's just a certain calmness that waves over me. And oftentimes, after sometimes 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes within a minute. Like today, after I laid down, I started playing the music. I closed my eyes, and I would say within 30 seconds, I was lucid dreaming. Like or things were happening, And sometimes, especially when it's a shorter session, it might just be like feeling the body and feeling calm and just relaxing. And that's more or less all of it. But oftentimes my mind and body go places, and I have visions or I have realizations, or in many of these sessions, I had intense moments of crying where for a day or two or three, I'd be in this weird mood and I could tell something is bothering me. There's a mood I can't shake. There's something I can't quite put my finger on. And then I would lay down and put on the music, and 20 minutes into it, there'd be this thought, this memory, this moment pop up, and I would go, oh shit, and I would just start crying. And then after the fact, it would be obvious to me. I'd be like, oh wow, I was carrying, there was a certain sadness or hurt, something that happened a couple of days ago that reminded me of something that I've never really processed, and now it came out. But that's it. And I just usually lay there until I know that I'm good, like until my intuition tells me, all right, this is it. This was it. This was good. Now it's time to get up.
Dude, it's insane. Like so 2 years back, before, maybe even more, before this whole work thing started, when was the last time that you cried?
Never. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never like I mean, I cried as a child.
Yeah.
But since I've been a teenager, I don't think I ever cried. And for sure, in the last 2 years, I mean, I didn't cry today, but like in the last 2 years, or in the last year, let's say, I've cried in these kind of body meditations. I would say maybe 4 times. And I cried in front of friends in broad daylight in a coffee shop with lots of strangers, which is like unthinkable. Right after that, I remember telling you that I pinged my mother and my ex-wife, and I asked if they had ever seen me cry. And they both were like, are you crazy? No. And then I thought, I do think this is the first time I've cried in front of other people. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, it depends on your measurement. 5 times in a year doesn't seem that insane to me, or that much. But if you consider 27 years of zero and then 5 times in like 12 months or something, that's quite an increase for sure.
Yeah.
Quite an increase.
Feelings turning us into pussies.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't
shut that down.
I haven't heard you say you cried or seen you crying, so it might be just me, but I don't know. The thing, this like what I call body meditation, it's really, I don't know. It's not a particular kind of meditation. It's just laying on the bed, feeling your whole body and listening to something, right? And listening to some music. But this might be the biggest gift that first MDMA therapy session has given me.
Opening that gate,
and I can access that.
Yeah.
And this has never been discussed. It was never a thing. Hey, now that you've experienced this, maybe at other times when you feel a little weird, just lay down, just follow the same or similar protocol, and let's see if you can access that. Nobody ever told me that. I never thought that. I never thought, let me try to recreate that. I think just a couple of days later, at some point, I was thinking, I just want to lay down. Maybe I'll listen to something. Kind of like very unconsciously, I've used that. And because it worked so well, I kept doing it. I've been doing it quite a lot. It's not like a daily habit. I had times in Greece where stayed in Greece for a month. I was doing it probably 5 days a week for a month. But I think in the last 3 months, maybe I've done this once or twice every other week, right? So it's not like
Mm.
I do it quite frequently, but I don't do it like daily or something. But it's such a gift. I don't know, it helps me access, it's almost the counterbalance to my overanalyzing, overthinking brain, where whenever, whatever my thoughts or feelings get too much and I can't fully just process them on a cognitive level, when I fully am embodied in my body, completely present, it just helps me process certain things or experience myself in a different way. It's been really enriching. That's the best way I can say. It's really been enriching. And today, now after the fact, I can say that I feel that I had a lot that was bottled up and I couldn't quite find a release for it or a way to access it. And then I think the conversation with my mother amplified some of that. I think that's where the exhaustion came from. It was a good conversation, but I experienced this as also intense, which means I was probably tense in parts. And so thank fucking God for that body meditation, because if I didn't have had that, I wouldn't be able to talk to you right now. Like I would have been so destroyed, just so exhausted and tired, and it would have placed me in a weird place, and that would not bode well for how my weekend would start tomorrow, right? It's just like would put me in a weird place. But I feel literally like I was out there sweating all day long in the sun and the dirt, and I took a really long, clean shower, and I'm like, ooh, that feels good. This is what I was missing this entire week. I was sticky and smelly, and I'm just like, can't find a way to feel good in my skin. And now I'm like, all right, this is not that bad. I feel good.
Yeah. How do you? So when you do the meditation, how do you get out of it? Do you just like know? Okay, that's it, and you just open your eyes, get
know.
over it?
Yes, this is the thing. I think as I'm trying to understand this better, this is very different from anything I've ever done before. And I've meditated before, right? For many years, I've been meditating. I've done hypnosis, right? I did a lot of hypnosis myself, and I was listening to hypnosis tapes. And this is very different from both of these experiences for me.
It sounds different.
It's very different. And I think for whatever reason, I am able to be fully embodied. And that is a very distinct modality, a mode of being. When I was meditating, when I would meditate, I would try to, I could do these different exercises, right? Just either focus on my breathing or, scan, like when you do the body scanning meditation, when you just scan through, your big toes, your legs, your different body parts. You can do a walking meditation, right? Where like every step you're trying to be fully present for the movement, or do an embodied meditation where you imagine being a tree or mountain or whatever. In all of these, although the focus was for me to not be in the mind, it was me using the mind not to be in it. You know what I mean? Like it was still like my mind would still be active with thoughts, and then my mind would go, oh, let those thoughts go, focus back on the breathing. Breathe in, breathe out.
Yes.
Breathe in. But it was, if I had to say where the center of energy was, it would still be in my mind. Right? And the mind is basically saying quiet down or focus on the chest and breathing or do this or do that. Right. But it was still my mind. Same thing in hypnosis. I mean, hypnosis, I wouldn't have to, I would listen to words that I could feel are stimulating my mind and making me feel a certain way or change my state of being. But it was very in the mind if I had to allocate where the action is happening.
Yeah.
And this is different because I do see things. Like I do have sometimes these either lucid dreams or visions, or I have these moments that pop up. but if I had to say where is this happening, it's in my body. It's not in my mind. It's my body giving me these ideas or thoughts or visions. It's not my mind that's generating them. In some weird way. I don't know how to explain this, and so it feels completely different, and hence it doesn't come with that kind of a manual that I would use if it was a mind-driven thing where I would set a timer, for instance. Let's lay down and do this for 30 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Or once I feel like, oftentimes in meditation, I would do this exercise where I would say, once I want to get out of the meditation practice, I will hold on, hold peace, and wait a little longer and ask myself, who is it that wants to get out right now, right? Is it when I would meditate and my thought would be, all right, enough, I think I'm good. I would go, well, wait a little longer and see what happens, But with this, I have the like when I start, I don't even think how long this will take. When I start, I just start and I just trust my body and I just go into my body and focus and feel my body. And then usually at some point, I have this, it's an intuition within the body, a signal that says, we're good now. Like, this was good. This was it. And then I just open my eyes. And usually when I open my eyes, I'm really like refreshed and I can feel like, yeah, all right, I'm ready. This was good. I'm out of the shower now. I'm clean. Let's put on some clothes. Let's do stuff. I feel good. And I've done this. I think the longest session I've ever done was 1 hour and 50 minutes or something, like almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's a long fucking time.
Yeah.
And I've done many sessions that have been an hour. An hour is easy. If you told me, like, and I've listened to many guided meditations as well. An hour.
Yeah, it's fucking long.
That's fucking long. I remember in San Francisco, I would go to this like Buddhist house temple, and they do this like these meditation sessions on Friday, and you would just sit there, and there would be a beautifully guided 1 hour meditation. It was torture during the last 20 minutes for me. It was torture. I've never been able to do something this long, but for whatever reason, this is so simple. It's not even intimidating. Like, when I think about it, I don't even go, oh my God, do I have the time? I just I don't even think about how long it's going to take. I'm just laying there and I'm just go, it'll be whatever it'll be. I don't know. It's a huge gift. I've never talked about this. Many of our conversations and a good amount of our recordings, there's a dark archive. One day maybe we'll give access to it, which is like the unpublished episodes. But
dude, this is my retirement fund. Like,
there you go.
In case you ever die, I'll pull out all these unpublished recordings, and this is going to be your peak fame.
You're going to have like 5 years of work, and then just like Kafka, you're going to release all these like books and audio tapes, and it's going to be a huge thing. And you're going to get rich and famous, and I'm going to be dead.
No. You're going to get more famous, but I'm going to get rich.
You're going to get rich. There you go.
Yeah.
But in many of these sessions, or many of our recordings were a direct result of a session like that, where I would tell you, I just did a body meditation and blah, blah, blah came up, right? But we've never talked about it and as a thing. And I just now realized, talking to you about this, wow, this is one of the big, incredible gifts that I've received. This is so valuable and so beautiful, and also very new and different from things that I'd experienced before. And I've never recognized it. I never stopped to think, what I'm doing here is kind of unique and special. And it started with that first session, and now I have it in my life. It's a thing that I can use and access. I never thought about it, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, fuck, I'm really grateful. This is really incredible.
And in the time, like after, let's say, the kind of whatever, so you do the body meditation, and then the rest of the day after that, is there anything that you do or not do, or is it just like you're just so connected with yourself that you kind of by default do what's Just go with that.
I can't even tell you because it has produced very different results at very different times.
Mm-hmm.
The one time that I did cry in public the next day, in the body meditation, out of nowhere, a memory popped up again of me in a situation with my family. And it was a very kind of ordinary situation, us going to a bakery on a Sunday morning to have brunch together, right? My ex wife and my two kids. But as that vision popped up, I didn't just see how I was walking to the bakery and like how we were hanging out there. I, for the first time, maybe ever, fully and clearly felt the shame and the pain I was carrying with me because I was so unhappy. And one of the reasons we would go to this bakery on Sunday mornings was that we were so lost on the weekends. We were so unhappy. We just tried to fill the time with something. And so I remember us going there, but we didn't go there because, I mean, we liked the food there, but it was also just like trying to desperately fill the day a little bit. Because when we were just at home, just the two of us and the kids, we would have a great time when we were playing with the kids. But when the kids were kind of doing their own thing, it was just very hard to not have our misery look us in the face. Like, just, it was very hard to distract ourselves. And so in that body meditation, I saw that moment of walking to that bakery, and I felt the dread and pain and shame and hurt I was feeling during those days. And it just exploded out of me, right? I just started crying like crazy. And it felt almost like all the pain of that relationship was releasing itself and being felt, because I was very much trying to suppress all that during the time, trying to be functioning, right? And when I came out of that session, I thought, I'm surely should be feeling great now. Like, it's out of my system and right? But I felt horrible, just horrible. And I was in such a bad place, you know, when my friends were talking to me and things were happening, everything was overwhelming me. And I eventually had to leave the place and go on a long walk. And then I came home and I got it, like, was hiding in my room. And I thought maybe I should listen to the same song again and try to like cry some more. I don't know. You know, something has to happen because I feel so terrible. And I couldn't shake it off till late in the night, till I fell asleep. I was just miserable. And I woke up and I felt miserable. I'm like, oh God, what is this? This isn't fun. And then we had to leave the apartment. We went to some place to have breakfast. And when my two friends asked me, hey, how are you doing? You know, what was up with you yesterday? I had the split second of a decision to make. If I tell them the truth now, I'm going to cry. I won't be able to stop it. Or I can just say, I'm okay. And then I thought, fuck it. Fuck it. Let's just say it then. And I went, well, I was not in a good place yesterday. They're like, oh, really? What happened? I was doing this body meditation and then this thing. And then as I start telling them, I just couldn't stop it. And I just started crying in the middle of the fucking day. And
I would, you know, I would love to see their faces, especially Sophia.
I mean, both of them were kind of moved, you know. They were both.
Yeah. But still, I would love to see that initial moment where his brain is like,
what the fuck is happening?
Crying?
Yeah. And you know, that was it. Like, that was it. I cried, we talked, and then I felt a million times better. It was kind of, I felt lighter. And then I remember going on a quick walk on my own, and just a number of things that I was battling with in my mind, just like boom, 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 boom. Everything was falling into place. I had this level of clarity. I felt clean. I felt good. And I was like, did I have to cry in front of people? Like, why is that a thing? Like, why did this help? It didn't help when I was crying on my own. I'm not sure. I didn't overanalyze, but that was one experience, right? And then there've been many, like today, for instance, I just opened my eyes and I was just, all right, I'm back. I'm fresh. I have energy. I feel good. Fuck yes. And I went on a little walk along the river, and then I came back to have this conversation with you. And anything in between, like, I've had very productive days. I had days where after that body meditation session, you know, I don't know. There was no big difference. Sometimes I've not always been able to go places. Right? Sometimes I had, I can remember one session where I was laying there. Then after 15 minutes, I thought I didn't get fully into it, but it's fine. Like it wasn't supposed to be today. I'll try again tomorrow. So there's no real clear pattern here that I can point to, but I know that it's kind of a unique space and time that I create when I do that. It is, I don't know, almost like a vacation for my mind, but it's also an invitation for my body and soul. I know this sounds a bit dramatic, but that's how I would describe it. Like it's, I don't know, it's inviting myself to feel and process life on and in a different state, in a different, it's not even a state, it's in a different, using a different tool, which is in that sense actually
Yeah.
my body versus my mind.
Yeah. And the body doesn't judge, doesn't analyze, right? It's just in a way experiencing.
The cool thing is that I have the sense that my body just does things then, right? It's just it just knows, and it might be that it creates feelings or feels feelings. It might be at times that it, like today, I mean today in the first kind of 2 or 3 like micro dreams that I had, I felt like my body quickly has to play out a scenario or process something that happened, but I'm not quite ready yet, or maybe now is not the time for me to consciously participate. Right? It was almost like a go into the other room, we'll clean up here a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. In the weird way, that's the way I would describe it. So my body does things to my mind. I mean, my mind is part of my body, but it's, I don't know, it's almost like inviting my body to take over and trusting it. And sometimes it just relaxes me, and sometimes it makes me cry, and whatever. Like if you take the father and mother energy metaphor, you want to apply it to this just as an idea. If the mind is kind of the father, it's analyzing everything, and the body is kind of the mother that's nurturing, life giving, then it's almost, yeah, it is an experience of visiting mother. Like it's an experience of getting into a state where I'm being taken care of. I don't have to take care of anything. I don't have to think or solve, and things are being done to me that are always good. Sometimes not pleasant, but just always good. Always good for me. It's a taking care of myself in a very deep, very satisfying way that I'm surrendering to and trusting to, right? If I was a religious person, this would be a religious experience of sorts. But it's not, I don't have a concept of that. I just know that it's good. It's very, very good.
That's dope. It made me think of one Thailand trip where I was like really into Thai massage, and then I would like get every day a 3-hour Thai massage for 6 weeks. Which, when I say it now, it's insane. How did I have all this fucking time? 2 weeks into that, I got into this, and kind of like where you said, it's kind of lucid dreams and kind of the whole feeling the whole body, and being kind of detached from the. It's almost like when there's the spaceship, and then it like how do you say that? Decouples from the other thing, and it's just kind of like floating without that other thing. I'm like a rocket scientist.
I know. You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that I know exactly what you mean. I've watched the same whatever Star Trek that you watched or whatever. So I know what you mean, and I could not describe it significantly more sophisticated. So like I'm with you.
All right. But it sounds really, really dope. You should share that with Alex also at some point. Like, hey, this thing is something I got during that first session, and it's still with me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we publish what we just discussed, if we publish this, then I'll just send him this episode. But I feel this is hard to access. If I heard somebody describe it the way I've described it in our conversation 3 years ago, I'm not certain I would have been able to grasp it, right? And
I don't think I grasp it.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think if somebody would have told me just do this, I would have done the steps.
Good luck.
I would have
Good luck,
done this.
motherfucker.
Yeah, would have done the steps, but I think it would have still been a mind-centered
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
I cannot tell somebody how to center on the body. Like, I don't know. That sort of happened during my session with Alex, and now I'm able to access it, but don't ask me how, or don't ask me to even attempt to replicate this.
Yeah.
Give this as a gift to somebody else and tell them, just do this and then you'll have the same experience. It's kind of
Yeah, and it
hard.
even like I could even sense it like when I ask you some of the questions and you're like, oh, there was a part of you, even in your voice, where it's like, yeah, I can try to somehow answer your question, but that's not really going to be the answer, right?
This is one of those times where you know exactly like how something feels, and you can describe it precisely from your memory and experience, but you know that for the other
Mhm.
person something completely different will arrive. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I know that what I'm sending over doesn't have what it would take for you to know.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have words that can make you access this or totally understand it. And so there's a bit of that's a bummer that I cannot find the words to, like, really share.
Yeah.
But it's also part of the game. It's, part of the beauty of it, maybe, or the type of gift this is to me, is that this would have been impossible for me to experience, and now it's there and accessible and so valuable. But it's not a 3 easy steps to this new method of whatever. Like, it's not something I can package up and
Yeah.
sell or share or gift or teach. Not even, this is not something that I can teach. It's just for me. It's just, not to say that I'm the only one that has this. I'm sure there's like all kinds of experiences people have, and some that may be the exact same or very similar. But this thing is just like something that I now have. I don't know exactly. I'm just glad I have it, but I'm not sure I can share it or give it to others in some way, at least not with tools of the spoken word.
Mhm. That being said, if anyone is listening and like interested and curious about this, we are doing this 1 month retreat.
Yeah,
You can place a deposit, and it's not something that Staley can teach, but he can help you access it and experience.
On top of it, you're gonna have to place a deposit, and not a deposit. Because deposit is sort of like a deposition, which is very different from a deposit. But yeah, it's just $25K to save your spot, and then another 125 once we have successfully body meditated you, to this different place. That'd be funny. Yeah, this, you know what? If we publish this, I'd be interested if this is completely what we would call in Greece a hole in the water. When you just poke with your finger a hole in the water, just like you've done nothing. Like, this has exactly zero effect, what you just did.
I love that. A hole in the water.
A hole in the water, like, what's the point? Or
This
if
shouldn't
this
just be a thing in Greece.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Maybe now we'll make it something beyond that. But I wonder if this is just completely like just flying above or below people's heads and bodies. And it's just like, I don't know what I listened to, but it was sort of thing about a meditation that can't be explained. I don't know what the point is. Or if there's like spots that have nothing to do, but everything to do with what we just described, where it's like somebody's thinking, when did I cry last time? I don't know. Or shit, I did like meditating. Maybe I should try this again. Or if anyone will reach out and go, I have the same thing and I call it the voodoo meditation, and this is how it works for me. I'm curious. If I was a betting man, my bets would be placed more on the first and second possibility than on the third. But
the hole in the water.
You never know.
Yeah,
it's a lot of, I think this is a lot of hole in the water for a lot of people. But hey, you gotta.
Not for us.
Not for us. And that's the beautiful thing. This recording and conversation was a huge gift for me, because I have never thought about it. And I'll continue. I don't think I will. And that's a nice thing. I'm glad about that, I think. I'm okay and at peace with it being what it is. Like, I don't want to improve it or change it, and I don't want to catch it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
dissect it. I don't want to analyze it. I don't want to own this. I don't care. The only thing that I think this conversation has done for me is make me even more grateful for it. So for
That's
sure, the next couple of sessions that I'll do, I'll have an extra wiggle and smile and go, oh, I'm so glad. I'm so thankful for
That's
this.
awesome.
Thanks
That's
that this
awesome.
exists for me. And that in itself is dope. Beautiful. And then let's definitely publish this. I don't know what this is, but
Okay.
this was great. And this is, and you should cut this in. One of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast with you, not with anybody else, is that, I mean, there are many reasons, many good reasons. There are lots of reasons that are unexplainable,
questionable,
very questionable. But one thing is that this conversation that we just had, I could have not have had with anyone else, because nobody knows me well enough and is the sort of intuitive, interested, curious, intellectual, weird person that you are to ask the questions that you asked that led us down this path. And so I'm very grateful for you. And this was a great conversation where you gifted me something through the questions that you asked. Thanks.
I'm glad, dude. I get so much out of these talks. Like, it's funny because it's kind of like the Staley self-therapy recording.
Yeah, what do you mean, kind of? This is totally listen to Staley do self-therapy and Ramin forget to click the record button. That's pretty much what you're hearing here.
But I get so much out of it. So
I'm glad that you're getting the therapy benefits without the work of the therapy. I'm glad that I'm able to give you that.
There you go. Inner work done for you, so you don't have to do the work.
Exactly. This is the sort of thing that rich people should be able to do now. Like, back in the day where you could just pay people to go into heaven, no matter how much of a terrible. Despicable person you were. Well, why can't we be so rich today where we just pay others to do therapy and we just, through their therapy, we just feel better about our lives?
I like that.
If you're interested in that, you can sign up. We have a pre-sign up page. It's a $5,000 deposit and you'll be placed on the waiting list for the, not self-therapy, but, crowd therapy. No, we have to have a good name. I don't have a good name for this yet.
I kind of like the phrasing of like inner work done for you. Right?
Inner work done for you.
You don't have to do the inner work.
But we need a cooler branding for maybe it's
that's true.
It's zero therapy, or therapy zero, and then below it's inner work done for you. It's like 0 cents for zero effort on your part. Easy peasy,
Okay. All right, man.
All right, boom. Talk to you later.